Hey, Critical Analysis, this is your video for your Chapter 4 specific vocabulary. If you want to view your Chapter 3 vocabulary, that is in a separate video, so make sure you check that out. So I'm in the Week 3 fill-in folder, and I have downloaded my Chapter 4 vocabulary study guide. You will get it as a blank document, and as I've said in previous vocabulary videos, how you do this is totally up to you, whether you just like to sit and listen to the video, whether you like to print out the vocabulary study guide and fill it in on your own, whatever works for your processing so that you understand the words. So let's jump right in. Chapter 4, the first whole side and even the next couple words on the back, or depending on if you print it out or whatever, on the second page, are from the vocabulary booster. So I will just kind of show you real quickly where that's coming from in my table of contents. I'm in Chapter 4. If I click on vocabulary booster, you'll see that you will kind of scroll through and see a lot of our terms that are on your study guide for Chapter 4. So this is where you could go if you wanted to see them used in sentences that are being kind of connected to the context. So that is where those are derived from. So I'm going to go ahead and turn back to here. Again, the entire side here, you can see that's why they all have very similar page numbers, are from the vocabulary booster. All right, so let's jump in. Ensemble, a whole group containing 2 or more people. So those of you maybe with music background, you probably are familiar with this, you know, solo and ensemble. So an ensemble, a group of people, although you can certainly have an ensemble of people outside of music. Maybe you have an ensemble of people at work. So it's just a containing a small group of people. To scald means something is burning hot. Obviously not a positive thing. If something is scalding, it is very hot. And then you yourself could be scalded if you were, touched by something very warm. Embed is to insert or engrave. If you've ever I'm just going to embed myself in this conversation, like you're inserting it, or to embed something means you're engraving it, you're putting something on something else. Embellished, kind of stretch the truth. I don't know if anyone has ever known anyone who likes to do this. They like to exaggerate a little bit. Maybe they went on a mile run and they come home and they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I just ran for 4 miles. I mean, it's like a little white lie, right? You're stretching the truth, you're exaggerating. Or they like to kind of say like how much money they spent on something, but they add a few dollars. They're embellishing. They're just giving a little extra details that are not necessarily true. Enroll just means to sign up or to become a part of something. Technically when you guys signed up for this class, you enrolled for this class, you became part of, you enrolled in your classes at the college in general, you signed up. Emaciated, this one might not be quite as familiar as maybe a few of the other ones we just talked about. Emaciated means that there are signs of starvation. So maybe very thin. Maybe a dog has been abandoned. They're very thin. They're very kind of scraggly. They're showing signs of starvation. They've lost a lot of weight. That's emaciated. Eccentric, you'll notice that there are some ties to this, excuse me, with our Chapter 3 word unique. But eccentric means very different or odd. Sometimes someone might be considered eccentric if they have very kind of out of the norm ideas, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying this is negative at all. It's just sometimes outside of what you might expect. So very different or odd. Nonchalant is like, meh, I don't care. I'm fine. This doesn't bother me. I'm going to act very casual. You could actually feel that way, or you could just be pretending to feel that way. But nonchalant means you're just, it's fine. Everything's just going to roll off my shoulders. I don't have a care in the world. Effervescent. I like this word. Effervescent means very outgoing, maybe very bubbly. You like people. You're an extrovert. You are going to be very outgoing and talkative with people around you. Very positive, optimistic type of personality. Non-Descript. This is something that doesn't have a lot of detail. It's not very distinguished. So maybe if you're walking by a store and it's just, there's not a lot of advertising, a lot of color, it doesn't stick out in any way, it could be nondescript. A person can be nondescript. Maybe they just wear very kind of blending in type clothing, like a pair of jeans, a plain like white t-shirt, a baseball cap. Like there's not a lot of detail there. So nondescript, non-descriptive. Down here, as I said, then these 2 words also come from that vocabulary booster. Nonpartisan means you have no opinion, and this is usually specifically used with politics. You're neutral. You're not necessarily aligning yourself with one or another political party. You're right in the middle. You're neutral, nonpartisan. You maybe vote Republican one time, Democrat the next, independent, and then Green Party, whatever it might be. You just do not have any specific party that you align with. And then enmesh means to be stuck or tangled. So maybe, I don't know, my kids are little, they fly kites, the string gets tangled, it's enmeshed in something. All right, and then the last set of words from Techno Stress down, these are coming from selection 1. So depending on what order you're watching these in, if you've already watched the chapter 4 assignment video, you would have known that we talked about this selection already because this is on your text and skill sheet, selection 1. It is a health reading, and it talks specifically about like technology addiction, which again, I think is a really interesting and very connected article for not only college students, but our society right now in general. So it's called Mobile Devices, the Internet, and Eye Disorders. That's where this next set of vocabulary words are coming from. Again, you would have seen them in the assignment video if you've already watched that, if you've already read through this article. So Techno Stress, it's kind of like, it sounds just like it is. Technology caused stress. So anxiety or stress caused by technology. So this, unfortunately, oftentimes like teenagers can suffer from this if they feel like they're being bullied or they have to constantly be connected or, you know, track how many likes or views they have, things like that. Anxiety caused by technology. Deprivation is something that is taken away from you. So it's missing. If you're deprived of something, it's not there. Obviously, as like a human, if we're deprived of food and shelter and sunlight and those kind of things, we're going to suffer from that. We might deprive our children of, talking about in this selection, screens because maybe they misbehaved. We take it away from them. So deprivation is when something is not there, it is missing. Obsessive, you spend a lot of time. You think about it a lot, maybe to an unhealthy level. So you spend a lot of time with it, a lot of time on it. Again, this is in that technology, so they're talking specifically about technology, but it can be with anything. Euphoria is high levels of happiness. There's actually a TV show called Euphoria, but it means, you know, like you're very happy, euphoric, high levels of happiness. Eye disorders, so kind of aligns with like iPhone, those kind of things. Disorders tied to technology addiction. So someone who is addicted to technology might develop an eye disorder. So maybe they develop insomnia. Maybe they develop extreme anxiety. Maybe there's an eating issue connected to it. So anything that's going to result from kind of that addiction to technology. Compensate is something that you have to make up for. So maybe as a student, you're not a great test taker, but you do great with homework and participation. So you compensate for low scores in other areas. You make up for that. Virtual, they're kind of used this in two different ways. And I wanted to touch on this. Virtual, I think all of us since COVID are extremely aware of this word, you know, something that's online, that's not right there face to face. It has that online virtual dimension. Or practically, like we are virtually sisters. We are practically sisters. And then liberated means freed. If a group of people are liberated, they're freed. If you were liberated of something, maybe you in a bad relationship and you're liberated from it, you're freed from it. All right, so those are your chapter 4 words. As I said, these are from selection number 1. The rest are from the vocabulary booster. So if you have questions on those, please reach out and let me know. And then be sure to check out your chapter 4 assignment video where I will talk about your chapter 4 vocabulary quiz, which are connected to these words. Bye.